Another South African is failing to move forward in life due to stolen identity.
A 17-year-old matric pupil in Johannesburg is facing an uncertain future after finding out that her identity was stolen. She has been unable to apply for tertiary education for next year.
Well, this has affected me because I feel quite demotivated, you know. Everyone wants to matriculate and move to the next stage. But I feel like with this situation, it's kind of hard to move forward because you never know if you matriculate or that other person's identity will hinder you from success. Yeah.
Sadly, this story is not the only one. There are many South Africans who are suffering like this girl. Remember, one of those people lost her identity to Chidimma, Adetshina, and when people could smell the rot through their screens, they were called xenophobic and racist. The ANC is the main reason why this problem even exists in our country. The ANC has caused too much suffering, but they act as though they're the heroes of the story. Look at their ministers. They were so eager to give South African IDs to people like the Guptas when the people of South Africa were suffering due to these identity theft crimes. Let's not forget about the suffering due to the Guptas themselves. Gigaba focused on naturalizing the Guptas and making them citizens. To the ANC ministers, money mattered more than the citizens of this country.
And it's found that former Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba's approval of the early naturalization of the Gupta family was fraudulent.
Welcome back. Parliamentarians have found that members of the Gupta family committed fraud when they applied for early naturalization, and that former Minister Malusi Gigaba was wrong to approve their application to become citizens of South Africa. That is the naturalization. The Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs has recommended that the citizenship granted to Ajay Gupta's family be revoked. This after it probed the applications of Ajay Gupta, his wife Shivani, a mother and two sons, during Gigaba's first stint as Home Affairs Minister.
Chidimma was a beneficiary of corruption of a South African within Home Affairs.
When I made it through to top 16, it became a huge spark where people were like, how is a Chidimma South African, you know? So then people were not happy, or should I say South Africans were not happy, and felt like I wasn't a good representative for South Africa, and I was stealing a South African's spot, which I felt that was really unfair because I am also South African. And closer to the finale, unfortunately, certain things had to happen before, and a statement came out as well, which is the reason why I had to withdraw from the competition.
So for clarity, how are you a South African?
I was born in South Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, to Nigerian parents?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
She was a beneficiary because of the corruption conducted by some relatives of hers.
You have South African friends. You went to school, primary, secondary school. That's like your life. So do you feel somewhat betrayed by all that happened? That, okay, these are my people. I mean, yes, Nigeria, you didn't, I mean, you have our name, your parents are Nigerians, yeah, but you didn't grow up in Nigeria. You're practically South African. So was there a sense of betrayal that these are my people? Why would they do this to me?
Yes, for sure, definitely. I'm not going to lie about it. I felt betrayed, I felt hurt about everything because, I mean, I've spent 23 years of my life in South Africa, so.
Somewhere in South Africa is a person who missed out on opportunities because of Chidimma and her parents. Oh, but Chidimma is the victim, and that South African is just a number.
So at the time, we thought maybe there was a system problem and, you know, let's try adverts. So we tried VERTS. With VERTS, the moment we put in the ID number, then it just automatically said that she doesn't qualify before she even has an opportunity to put in her own results. So at that time, that's when we realized that, you know, something is wrong with this, with the ID.
And you were registering online, trying to get a space to study. What were you going to study?
I was going to study multimedia, specifically photography, because that's what interests me.
Many of these stories go unreported. Many of them do not get addressed.
So your son can't go to school, he can't access his matric certificate?
No, can't get a 350, can't get a job because he doesn't have the identity document. And he's using my surname, but he said I cannot help him get the ID only the mother can and the identity is stolen.
Namanje ubaba bekunomsebenzi la ngasibhoxa la eduzane bekumela ngaplayele ngawuthola angikwazanga ngoba nginayo vele ID lento le yangimisela yenze ilife ukuthi ivele imi lapha kuba ngathi ngiphozekile angikwazi ukuya phambili.
Dreams shattered, and yet some illegal foreigner is busy enjoying SASSA grants. Some illegal foreigners are busy receiving free housing in South Africa. Some illegal foreigner is enjoying benefits limited to South Africans because the ANC has been allowing criminal conduct within this country. What else do you need to know that the ANC is not for us? When someone reports that their ID has been stolen, you expect Home Affairs to jump up and chase that story until people end up in jail. That is what you expect. You expect ministers of Home Affairs to lose their minds because that tells us that it is easy to commit identity theft in South Africa. It tells us there are people in South Africa who will accept money even if a fellow South African's life might get destroyed. And no Minister of Home Affairs should be okay with that. People cannot study. They cannot marry. People cannot open bank accounts. They cannot get jobs because of some foreigner who paid for an ID. Because the ANC does not protect the vulnerable.
In 2006, I went to vote, and then I discovered that my surname is not the one on the register's vote. That's when I discovered then I was married to someone I don't know. I made it a point that on Monday, it is the first thing I had to go to Home Affairs, and then I told them my problem. They did check on their system. Then indeed they find out that I was married. Every moment I go to Home Affairs, I'm being treated like nobody. There was a time I was even told that we are done with your matter. Don't make your problems our problem. There was even a point that I felt like I'm not South African.
Here we are. How can anyone keep voting for anyone who has done this to their country? As a country, we are bothered by issues that should not be an issue while neglecting the real issues. The idea of buying an ID in South Africa should be impossible. It should be something unthinkable. But since it is happening, the least that these comrades could have done is make sure that they are very much on the ball when such issues are reported. In reality, when these families report the issues, what happens?
It's like I'm not South African. I'm not enjoying any benefits as a South African. The person somewhere there is enjoying all that should be rightfully mine. For instance, he took loans, he opened accounts, clothing account, he did all he could do with the ID, all possible. In 2008, I had my second baby. That baby is now 11 years. That baby is not registered with Home Affairs. What is stressing me even now, worse than all, if I die, what will happen to my boy? Because he doesn't have a birth certificate.
What happens when they complain and report that something utterly wrong has occurred? Does the Department of Home Affairs quickly try to assist and rectify the issue? Do they hurry and identify the criminals? Do they quickly make sure the young girl's life is not interrupted by these crooks any further? No, a South African citizen with tax-paying parents trying to do something decent with her life can't get help. They are sent from pillar to post. They are barely assisted. No one is there to make sure this ends in tears for the other side. She, a law-abiding citizen, and her family must simply make a plan. Meanwhile, the people with the fraudulently attained identity documents are roaming around, getting SASSA benefits, being admitted into university, flying across the world, becoming celebrities in the case of the other model. Now she is a victim because her parents engaged in the corrupt activity of buying someone else's ID number. The real victims are now viewed as if they don't matter.
2019, mother of two Deliwe Nhlapo got the shock of her life when she visited a Home Affairs branch in Bronkhorstspruit, east of Pretoria. She asked where the additional 2 had come from and was shown this birth certificate belonging to Ife Adeleye Musa, born on the 25th of January 2015. Nhlapho is registered as the mother, while the captured details of the father are of one Emmanuel Musa from Nigeria. They also showed her this birth certificate belonging to Matipa Theo Chiviru, born on the 4th of February 2017. With this child too, Nhlapho is registered as the mother and Theophilus Chiviru from Zimbabwe, the father. Both these birth certificates are legitimate Home Affairs documents, making the children South African. Since nabbed for the crime, a former Randfontein Home Affairs officials Charlotte Benz and Kiorapeti Nimbilwi. Benz was initially arrested for allegedly registering Zimbabwean-born fake doctor Kingsley Chele as a 14-year-old South African child in 2020, using the details of a South African woman unconnected to Chele. Using his fake South African citizenship, Chele is alleged to have swindled at least 14 unsuspecting women of 1.3 million rand.
The criminals take out loans in your name and mess up your credit history. And when you say, "Here I am, but I am a victim here," you are simply not taken seriously. I really hope Minister Leon Schreiber at Home Affairs is working extra hard to bring us solutions for the poor people of this country. We need voices like these ones, the ones who want to obey the law and do everything right to be heard. We want these people to matter more in our country than the criminals. Many people's lives have come to a standstill. They can't do anything in their lives. It's as good as over.
All right. If you had a chance to speak to officials out there, what would you say?
I would say that, how do I put this? I feel like we need to be more inclined to like check our systems. Like, I don't understand how taking someone else's identity has become so normalized. Like, someone else cannot continue with their future because someone else has stolen their identity. I'd also encourage people to have more sympathy towards these type of situations, because everyone always sees stuff like this. My story, it's always just a story, you know. It's always like, this would never happen to me, until it actually happens to you and it hits you and it's like, oh, my life has become a story essentially. And everyone always looks at stuff like this like it could never be me. But it could actually be you, and I would encourage people to have more sympathy towards situations like this. Yeah.
Someone please show us that South Africans matter in South Africa. We need the statistics of how many of these matters have been reported and how many have been resolved, especially now since the new minister has taken over. We need these people's lives to be restored. The criminals responsible for this need to be apprehended. Publicize the people and make it well known to our people so that they may be aware of the pain they have caused in the lives of our people. If you think that this is a small matter, imagine if your identity was stolen. That's it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Order your t-shirts at citizenconcerned.co.za. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.